Hello, my name is Chris, and today we'll be discussing how I approached ENC 1102. Honestly speaking, I do not consider myself a strong writer. Back in high school, I took AP Lit and AP Lang. Both were struggling, yet I managed to pass the AP Lang exam. And being completely honest, the only thing I remember from both of those classes was the rhetorical triangle. One point being ethos, another pathos, and the other being logos. But I vaguely even remember what they mean. Since I passed AP Lang, I was able to skip ENC 1101. One of my friends told me that 1101 was difficult and then 1102 was going to be even more intense. Personally, I am not a person that gets intimidated or stressed out about anything. I go in with an open mind and hope for the best. My goal for this course was to pass with a minimum of a B-. I set my bar here because I know writing is a struggle for me, but if I put in enough effort, I can write effective papers. At the start of the semester, when the professor told us to choose a community to write about, I didn't know where to start. She told us to choose something that we were interested in, and so I picked Disney because I loved the company as a whole. I am studying hospitality, and Disney is one of the most prestigious companies in our industry. My sister and my father also work for the company. In addition, Disney inspires many to go after their dreams and achieve something out of this world. When creating my proposal, I was not sure what I was researching. I just knew that my research had to deal with communication between cast members. For this paper, we mainly had to compare our community to either the discourse community or participatory culture. I found that my community fit the criteria of a discourse community and that of participatory culture. We had also written about where we wanted to take our research, but at the time I was still uncertain of where to go. On this paper, I received a B, which I was pretty happy about because I was on track for my goal. Researching for this community was kind of difficult. I mainly used the UCF library tool to find most of my secondary sources. There were very few articles about Disney cast members, but I managed to use them effectively in all my papers. For the annotated bibliography, we had to research further into our community. Like stated in all of my sources, the Disney training is what many of the researchers found fascinating about the Disney company. For example, in the Wheatley Love article, they discussed how cast members do quote-unquote magical acts towards guests. In my proposal, I discussed where I think I wanted to take my research, but I still had no idea where I was going. From reading many of my peers' papers and reading their feedback, I was uncertain if what I was writing about was relevant to this class. Therefore, the meeting that I had with my professor individually helped me feel more secure in what I was researching. She gave me examples of where I could take my research, which helped me formulate my thesis. I received an A on my annotated bibliography, which was exciting because this meant that I had an A in the class, which was surpassing my goal. From this point on, I felt that I could get an A if I worked a little bit harder. In addition to the meeting, I found that conducting the research helped me formulate a thesis. My working thesis was, how do cast members interact with guests? And after my research, I changed it to, do cast members demonstrate the Disney attitude or do they just work to get a paycheck? During my analysis, I found it difficult to incorporate all the sources I collected. For example, when discussing the horrible service I received, I feel that I should have included more examples of good service as opposed to bad service. But when I received the grade for my paper, I saw that I got an A, which pushed me closer to my new goal of getting an A in the class. During the entire semester, we talked about terms like rhetorical situations, multimodal, and discourse communities. Therefore, in my presentation and my analysis, I wanted to incorporate all of these aspects. Disney has a specific way in which they talk about and demonstrate their brand to their audience, which is why I took a similar approach to present my research. I made a film that showed various locations around the Disney property in a style similar to that would be found in a Disney ad. And I also added popular songs from Disney movies, which they would also add in their own ads. My presentation was basically made so that it could fit into the rhetorical situation of Disney commercials. In all honesty, I believe that this class was going to be somewhat of a challenge, but I managed to surpass my goal and receive an A. I believe my success is a result of the class layout. Every class meeting required a different part of the assignment due. Therefore, when the due date actually came to being due, most of the work was already accomplished. I feel that ENC 1102 was a very eye-opening experience and will help me write future papers while at UCF.